The younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel was lovely in form and beautiful. But it's rare for the Bible to describe a person's physical appearance. Very few, like the son who was called Joseph was described handsome and all that. It's rare. The Bible continues to say there in verse 18, Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I will work for 7 years in return of the younger daughter Rachel. Laban said, it's better I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with Rachel. Stay here. The Bible says, stay here with me. So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Imagine 7 years working to get a lady, and the days seem to be few. You meet today, you agree we are beginning a relationship. In the evening, you are like, I miss you, I cannot do without you. Ask your neighbor, what are you missing? I'll give you time for questions. Yes. I think there is a class after this one. There is a class after this one, which is coming up. If you check your programs, after this one, it's coming. But again, it is important, even if we are adults, you will get something that you can tell your daughter, your son, or you can even help these students here in school. So after this lesson, we are going to aside, I think ladies, gents, and then the staffs and whatever. That is it. So it seemed as few days. And when you read, we don't have time to go through the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13 from verse 1 to 13, which talks about what is love. Love is so patient. Imagine this man waiting for the next 7 years. You are living in the lady, in the same compound, seeing her, no touching, no kissing, no nothing, until you get married. Does it happen here? A week passes by, not even a week. You began a relationship, tomorrow somebody knows your password, their bank account, and all that. That speed is so high. No wonder we don't see. Let me give you an example. If you go to a national park and drive at 180 kilometers per hour, will you see anything? You have to do something like 5 kilometers per hour so that you can even see snakes crawling, squirrels. You can even spot lions sleeping, tall grass that has covered them. Love grows slowly. So you find we enter into, actually that is the definition of infatuation. Ellen G. White talks about make steps to love. Yesterday I told you, most of us dive into love. You dive into love when you are in the waters, you find inside there are crocodiles. You get out of the relationship. And one person has said that many of us fall in love. That is why we break out of love soon. So it has to be slow. And this man had to patiently wait and work for the lady. There is a man I was talking to. He wanted me to pray for him concerning about the issue of fornication in his life. He told me one day he took a vehicle from town which was headed to Thika. Before I tell you that one, he told me he doesn't know whether he is amerogwa or what happened. Somebody bewitched him, because he can walk in town, comes and greets a lady, and they begin to talk. The hand goes on the shoulder of the lady. The lady is a stranger, does not even resist. They talk almost 100 meters and says bye bye. Looks at another one, goes and begins to talk, and the hand goes, says, am I bewitched? One day, he takes a vehicle in town. Then a lady comes and sits close to him, with her micro mini skirt. You know those skirts that are the size of my coat? Those skirts. When she sat down, the skirt moved up. The man began to talk to this lady, and he found himself touching the thighs of the lady, and the lady did not refuse. The lady was headed to Thika. He was alighting at Roysambu. This man managed to convince the lady. Both of them alighted in what? In Roysambu. Infatuation. They went and shopped. They went to the house. The lady cooked and brought the food on the table and asked, by the way, I did not ask you your name. What's your name? Do you know there was a lady who was in problems? When I listened to her as she talks, I asked her, let me ask you, the tribe of your boyfriend is which one? By the way, I don't know. Infatuation is careless. Let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, mostly you find heartbreaks in campus, relationships that do not last, because there is a mistake that we made somewhere that we need to rectify. And that is why we are attending every day these sessions, so that we may be able to see. Listen to what Ellen G. White says in the book of Adventist Home, page 50, paragraph 4. That's what she says. Love is a plant of heavenly growth, and it must be nourished and fostered. It's a plant. Love is a plant. When you plant a seed, you come in the morning, do you see it up? Hello? It can take a week or 1.5 weeks for the buried seeds of maize and beans to begin doing what? It's a heavenly plant that needs to be fostered and nourished. But infatuation just rushes. There's something, just follow us as we move on. Listen to another description. Adventist Home, page 51, paragraph 2. By the way, when I'm doing premarital and postmarital counseling, I normally tell those who are going to get married, you must read Adventist Home, Messages to Young People, and Child Guidance. Ask them, they'll give you the books. Read those books again and again. If you do it, you can look at a man, you can look at a lady and say, this is not my type. Tunaenda kusumbuana kwa nyumba. Says this, true love is not a strong, fiery, impetuous, passion. On contrary, love is deep, it's calm. It's a calm, deep in its nature. It looks beyond mere externals and is attracted by qualities alone. You see, here, this is the opposite of what we think. You know, she says that true love is not strong. You'll hear somebody saying that there is that powerful attraction in the first day. But love is a heavenly plant. You make steps to love, as Ellen G. White says. So if you have that strong, fiery, impetus, passion, it's not love. On contrary, love is calm, deep in its nature. That is why love will develop gradually, but infatuation instantly. That is why you will find that we are using words. When I think of you, I don't eat. That is not love. And if I eat, the food does not fall in the stomach. Where does it go to? Infatuation will not use realistic words. Listen to what somebody has said. When I see you, the way I love you, when I see you, my body shakes and I feel like falling. That is not love. It is epilepsy. By the way, when I see you, my breath almost goes. That is asthma. Let me tell you, love is not stupid. Love is what? Reasonable. You make intelligent steps towards love. Because Ellen G. White says, this is something that will affect your life in this age and the age to come. How then are we supposed to be careful when choosing a life partner, or use words like those ones, I love you and all that? It's very important. You know, the choice, you may have lived a single peaceful life, only a life partner to destroy it. The Bible says that two are better than one, but when you have made a wrong choice, one is better than two. Let me read for you another statement from Ellen G. White. This is from Adventist on page 43, paragraph 2. By the way, she says this, that, let me read it. It is from the marriage hour that many men and women date their success or failure in this life. Listen to what Ellen G. White says. The moment you come to the aisle with your spouse or with your partner, the moment you say, yes, I do, you'll begin to count successes or failures. I'm taking a break so that you may think. That is the time you'll say, oh my God, have blundered. Or I thank God for bringing such a person. It's from the marriage hour that we date our success or our failure. And this is the point where people enter enter into marriage with bitterness. You know, Jacob works for 7 years to get Rachel. And at the end of the day, I don't have time to go through those. He's given Leah instead of Rachel. Have you ever worked for Rachel and you got Leah? Have you ever rated a person 85-90% when you come close? Or when you get married, you find it is below 10%. People live in bitterness in marriage. I met a lady who told me, who has a child now, is in the university. If my husband would have not if he would have not impregnated me, I would never have gotten married to him. Bitter for the last, I don't know, 20 years. It's like you see something over the net. You order online, you buy online. When it comes to your doorstep, it's not the one. My brothers and sisters, Ellen G. White says, if you have been praying twice, when you think about marriage, pray how many times? Double your prayers. Marriage is work. Marriage is not for kids. I will always say that. Marriage is not for kids. As we go on, I'll be explaining those words, why marriage is not for kids. It is work. The reason why Ellen G. White says that love is a plant, a heavenly plant that needs to be nourished and fostered. If you go to a market and buy a beautiful flower, you bring it into the house. If you don't water it, if you don't expose it to the sun, if you don't weed it, it will die. That is why each and every person, as you get somebody who is close to you, ask yourself, will this person nourish me? Will this person do what? Will this person nourish me and foster me towards heaven? Let me read one more and then we look at these differences as we move on. Still Adventist Home, page 56, paragraph 3. It says that they are married because of passion moved them, and when the novelty of their love is over, they will begin to realize what they have done. Mostly, you know, let me give you one characteristic of infatuation. Infatuation is attracted immediately and feels connected based on affections. But love will see the good side and the bad side and decides, I'm going forward. So Ellen G. White said, when the passion, in fact, passion moved them. It's not the passion. Passion is something that is moving on. It moved them. After that novelty is gone, they begin to wonder, why? I was talking to a lady who told me that, Nimrod, I've never touched 50,000 in my life. My boyfriend gave me 50,000. I became mad. By the time 50,000 is landing, I am 4 months pregnant, and I asked myself, why did I even date this person? Let me tell you this. Many of us, this passion moves us. Let me tell you, as a married man, when you enter into marriage, that passion begins to go down. There are some people who think that when you get married, somebody is waiting for this man, this lady, waiting for sex, saying, I'll be drinking it as water. Tell your neighbor, marriage is work. That is the time you will see the ugliness of that person. That which attracted the two of you begins to fade. If it was the outward appearance, I don't know what is going to sustain that marriage. That is why love is deep in its nature. It goes deep. It looks beyond mere outward appearance. So, you will find that as you enter there, the passion, that strong, the strong, you'll find, that is why I was telling you yesterday that you'll find two people walking together, holding hands, just know that they are not married. Because marriage is more than holding hands. This time you are busy hugging. When you'll get married, you don't even want to hug. In one of the lessons I was teaching, actually it was 10 to 20 years in marriage, I asked the married people, how often do you hug in the house? One gentleman asked me, are we supposed to hug? The things we are doing now are the things that we are supposed to do in what? In marriage. We have so much concentrated in these things in courtship. When it comes to marriage, we have nothing to offer one another. And that is why this week we are going to see, how are we supposed to court? Somebody said that. This is a lady who asked me, now that you are saying it is wrong for us to have sex before marriage, so if you remove sex in a relationship, what are we supposed to do? Is that the reason why you are courting? When the passion that moved you and the novelty of the affair is over, they begin to realize what they have done. Sometimes we confuse. We have 4 types of love, as you know. Some have put up to 7, but the majority agree it's 4. There is one which called storge. This is the affection between members of the family. You can say, my dad, my mother loves me. There is what we call phileo, friendship, love. You love one another as classmates, as roommates, and all that. Then there is eros, the sexual love, which dominates in most of the relationships. And we have the agape love, the love that God had for us. Listen to this one. I told you that love knows the good and the bad side of a person, and it still remains the same. I read a book whereby a lady was asking Pastor, I love this man, but I don't like the way he chews bones after a meal. Does your boyfriend or girlfriend chew bones after the meal? In short, she was saying she does not live for the dog. It's what? And Pastor said, if you love this man, you will marry him with that behavior. But if you cannot, leave. That is why, please, can you welcome those visitors who are behind there? That is why, you don't look behind. Ushers. That is why I want to tell you that we need to take time. Look at a person. Look at another one here. Love is realistic and it takes time. Infatuation is instant crush. Nowadays we talk about my crush. You're talking about infatuation. My what? My crush. Love takes time. It takes time. Why? The Bible says that in church there will be the wheat and the tares. And Jesus said, let the wheat and the tares grow together until what? Harvest time. I have a friend who tells me that I made up my mind I'll not get married to an Adventist, but when an Adventist approaches me, I take 10 steps back to look carefully. Why? The wheat and the tares are here. And you'll find a wheat, a tare preaching, a tare singing, the wheat and the tares singing together. It's the reality. Let me remove the word wheat and the tare. The wise and the foolish virgins doing what? Are together in church. They had the same names, virgins. They were wearing the same dress. They were all having oil. They were all having lamps. They all slumbered and slept. They all were awakened up. But it's something small that did what? Divided them. You'll find a wheat carrying the Bible and serious in Bible studies. How much more are we supposed to pray? That is why you hear, but you know, Pastor, he used to sing. Please separate a person from his gift or his talent, because you will be frustrated. So you have to take time and watch carefully every development in this person. The way I told you yesterday, have what you call compound eyes. Look, take your time. Infatuation craves for physical affection. Love craves for deeper connection. Appearances can deceive. Appearances can deceive. That is why God told Samuel, do not look at his physical appearance. I look at the heart. Man looks at what? The outward appearance. Let me tell you this. Let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 7 verse 10. Let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 7 verse 10. There came out a woman dressed, with the attire of a harlot. There are versions like say that there came out a woman dressed like a prostitute. Dressed like a prostitute. Was that a prostitute? Is that a simile or a metaphor? Why are you quiet? Was English optional in your secondary school? Is that a simile or a metaphor? A simile. Do you know you can spend 1 hour on a mirror, in front of a mirror, when you come out you look like a prostitute? And when you look like a prostitute, they say, dress the way you want to be addressed. So when men came come to you because you have worn, you have dressed to kill, you say no. You are like a place they have written butchery, but inside they are selling what? Medicines. Have you ever seen a chemist but on top they have written butchery? You are even confusing the thunder, it will not know where to strike. Umeshika hiyo kweli? There are people who confuse the thunder. And it will not know where to strike. By the physical appearances deceive. I can be in a suit. I can dress, even if you go to the streets, you'll even find other prostitutes. Majority wear something which is very short, but you'll even find others with long dresses. The outward appearance deceives. That is why, as we'll be going on, please don't date a person who is not your friend. One of the best things in marriage is to have your spouse as your friend. When you deal with communication, one of the things we talk about communication and we talk about friendship. If you are not friends in courtship, you can never be friends in marriage. If you are not in an open relationship, you cannot have an open marriage. One of the students told me, Imrod, the sister of my boyfriend, who is an elder, came to school. He told me to host the sister for 3 days, but gave me stern warning. Do not tell her that we are dating. She stayed there for 3 days. She went back home. The sister did not even know that they are dating with the brother. An open relationship will lead to an open marriage. Why do you think he said to her, don't tell my sister we are dating? Perhaps he's married at home. Or perhaps there is something else that they know that she doesn't want them to know that is happening in school. There are people whom you will date with and they'll tell you, let nobody know. Why? Do you know that there are some people who can see more than you are seeing? Your parents, your pastor, your mentors, they can be able to see what you are not seeing. I normally give this story. My sister who follows me, she's a nurse. She had a close friend, a lady, and this lady had a boyfriend. They had dated for 2 years. They went for introduction to Meru, so she escorted that lady. You know what happens, eating, introduction and all that. When they were getting out, the mother of the lady called her, my daughter, thank you for bringing this man. There is something I have seen. This man, as I've looked at him, he behaves like a married man. It's a married lady who can tell you how a married man does what? Before we go to their place, please find out. The message disturbed the lady. She began to fast and pray for it. You know, this lady was very wise. It's not like some of us. Wesikia, madhali niambia, unaonekana kama mtu mwenye ameoa. Umeoa? Niambie ukweli. Na vile tunapenda kusema, hebu niambie. But you see, this lady, you know, let me tell you. Let's go to the book of Luke chapter 21 verse 14 and 15. You know, when you want to get information, go back to God. Because you can ask one question and get 10 answers. Do you know? When God is involved. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to worry, not to meditate how you shall defend yourself. For I will give you words of wisdom that your adversaries will not be able to resist or gainsay. She was so tactical in asking this man that they were dating with, and the man confessed, divorced with 2 children. How did the mother, who has never seen this man, know what a young man can see while seated, what an old man can see while seated, you cannot see even if you climb up here. There are things that go with age and experience. When you hide your relationship from your friends and your parents and even your mentors, you are going to a wrong direction. That is for sure. They need to know. After all, the Bible, the spirit of prophecy says, if you are in a relationship and your parents do not know, you have broken 2 commandments. You have disobeyed your parents. That is the first commandment. Broken the 5th commandment. Children, obey what? Actually, Ephesians also says that for this is the only commandment with what? A promise. Imagine your father and mother who have taken you for the last 20 years. Don't you think they have a right to know what is going on in your life? You have disobeyed them. Ellen White says that the 2nd commandment you have broken, thou shalt not steal. You have stolen the affection of this man, the affection of this lady, and the parents do not know. How many thieves are here? It is, this lady brought about 5 men to pastor. Pastor says no, this is not a 7-day Adventist. Pastor says no, this is not spiritual. Pastor says, until the lady was tired. Then the lady comes with a man. This lady was headed to 40. And says, Pastor, at last. So he tells the lady, get out. They talk with the man. Looked at the man says he was around 42, but when he looked at him, he was around headed to 50. Asked him question. And he told him where he comes from and that. Told him, go out and call the lady. And pastor told the lady, you are a fool. You've been fool. I want you to do this. Go to this and this place and find out. The lady went and found a man married with a wife the size of Yokozuna, with 11 children. You are dating here, you don't know even anything about this man, about this lady. In love is slow, it takes steps. We are going to look at this person whom you are going to get married to is going to affect your life in this age and the age to come. That is why you have to be very careful. Let me ask you, if a fish and a bird fall in love, we clap for you. But when you get married, where will you build your house? Did you hear what I said? If a fish and a bird gets married, where will they build their house? You have an idea? They will not live together, isn't it?
Let me tell you, there are people who are dating today, it's a fish and what? Bad. And they, after 1 week, they'll come back to pastor and say that, Pastor, I cannot live with that person. I've never met a devil in my life. I've seen one in my house. Pastors know how to unite, but they don't know how to do what? To separate. That is why you need to be careful as you move on. Listen to this one. Infatuation is intense but short-lived. Intense and short-lived. Love is comfortable but lasts longer. Let me tell you, a problem can come. Love will endure it, because you must have a bumpy life. I was talking to one of the couple that the husband tells me, I talk something small, she packs and goes. After 3 weeks, she comes back. I talk this is the 5th time, and he asked me, for how long? For how long? I met another one who said, Elder, even my mother and father know that I am a no-go zone. I said, yes. Your parents may understand, but your husband will not do what? Instead of taking pride that they know that you are no-go zone, kneel down and confess and tell God, remove this temper that is in us. Am I talking to somebody? Yes, that is it. Listen to this one. Love is energizing. Infatuation is draining. How many are in a draining relationship? Let me tell you, when you go back to that book which you read, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love does not keep a record. Especially the ladies, they keep records. Ile siku kafanya hii nikakusamea, na ile ingine When you are in the right relationship, it will energize you. You know, let me tell you, somebody tells me my spiritual life is not good, what. The first thing I'll ask, are you dating? Yes. Before you met this man, before you met this lady, how was your spiritual life? Good. After meeting him, it went down. Do you think it will improve in marriage? No. You have the answer. Love, true love will energize you. But where things are bad, they are going to drain you. You'll be drained. You know, there are some things I hear, they hurt me. These are two people who are in love. But the man doesn't want to see the lady talking to any other man. Love is not jealous. This is quarrels. Sit down, tell me everything you told that man. That is a churchmate, a classmate. Kwani utaki tuongea na watu? They argue kidogo slap. If he beats you before even paying dowry, he'll buy for you a coffin when you'll get married. So this relationship kept on going like that. The man can talk with other ladies, but doesn't want to see a lady, this lady that she's dating, talking to any other man. One day, you know, this lady was a leader in church, so they are talking with an elder on the affairs of the church, blah, blah, blah. They talked for a long time. The boyfriend called this lady to her room and beat him. Akamumauma. She came out. Unafikiria ni umbo ilikuwa inafanya nini? And after the relationship the relationship was over, the lady told me, I feel that I can even breathe fresh air. A sigh of relief. She was in a relationship that was draining her. Let me tell you, in marriage, because it is work, please don't walk with a person into marriage who is draining you. You'll feel discouraged in marriage. You will come up and begin to discourage people who are going to get married. Unaenda kwa mimi nakuambia mapema, mimi nimekuambia tu mapema. Does not see anything good in marriage. By the way, I normally say, if I think if I was still single, I will not be where I am today. I have grown tremendously in marriage. That is why we are supposed to pray that the Lord may help us end up in a relationship that will build us. Lastly, as I move on, tomorrow we are going into deeper and deeper. Infatuation is shallow, love is deep. That is why yesterday we were saying that the wise and the foolish builder. The wise dug and dug and dug until he reached the bedrock and began to build. Remember, the wise and the foolish, both of them, the rains came down. It is possible that they were in the same location, same soil. The rains came down, the waters came up, the winds blew and beat against the house. One fell with a great fall. This evening, I want to tell you, love is not blind. If it's blind, that is infatuation. And if you think love is blind, marriage will be the eye opener. Let me give the last example. Two people were dating. After 2 years, the lady found out that the man was positive. When I went to that university, I was told that they are still insisting they will get married. I cancelled them. The lady still said, I'll get married to him. Listen, love is not blind. Love is not stupid. Love is reasonable. Are you ready to take medicines before you have sex? Are you ready for this and this and this and this and that? Yes. Are you ready for this and this and this? Yes. But when the reality will dawn in, I'm not saying that people who are HIV cannot get married. Do not only look for the short term, look for the long term. May the Lord bless you abundantly. Tomorrow we will be looking at the law of discerning or the law of selectivity. We will be going deeper, more verses and all that as we move on. Let's rise up. Our Father and our God in heaven, we thank you because you love us. Thank you for reminding us that love is deep and calm in its nature. It's an heavenly plant. Lord, We have been blinded by the God of this world. What we call love is not love. The devil is busy mating people, and we have left you, who is the matchmaker. We ask that you may forgive us. Thank you for using each and every speaker who has stood in the pulpit. We pray that your word may find a good place in our hearts to build us, to move us closer to you. Above all, as we do all these things on earth, help us not to miss the heavenly kingdom. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
To have breakout sessions right now. The community members who will meet under this tree, you will meet our speaker the village. The will meet the leaders of the